up, YouTube? We got a yo-yo review to do today. This is the Unparalleled Abduction. Alright, so the Unparalleled Abduction. This is the signature yo-yo of Mr. Elliot Ogawa. Elliot Ogawa is a 3A player. He used to be on the Yo-Yo Factory team, but is now sponsored by Unparalleled. And this is the newest yo-yo from Unparalleled. There are still a few left available in this colorway. This is the Eva colorway. In my opinion, this was the best looking colorway. I bought this with my own money. I did buy it off YoyoBESTBUY during the Black Friday sale. Bought this with my own money. Link down in the description if you want to get one of these. They don't always do restocks of Unparalleled stuff, so this might be your last chance. So if you want one, make sure you check the link in the description. There are a few left at YoyoBESTBUY, and maybe a couple other stores still have a few, but I think Yo-Yo Experts sold out of them, and there's not many left. So if you want one, you got to grab it quick. That's why I'm doing a review right now. Unparalleled Abduction. I guess sort of the next 70-75 metal yo-yo in the Unparalleled Abduction line. So they had the Corruption, or Uption, whatever. Anyway, and this is the Abduction. This was designed for, again, Elliot Ogawa, who is a 3A player. So when you look at yo-yos and you're like, well, why do they do that design? Or why do they do it that way? Sometimes if it's weird, or it's like heavy or something, a lot of times it's like, oh, it's for a 3A player. And then it makes sense. So let's get right into the specs on this. Diameter of this yo-yo is 58 millimeters, so pretty huge diameter. It is 67 grams, and I didn't write down how wide it was, but specs will be up here. Anyway, but wanted to point out, wide diameter, 67.5 grams, which is heavy. I got one of the blasted ones, so they came in sort of two different styles. You could get a splash that was blasted, which was 55, or you could get a solid color. I think some of the solid colors were blasted, but some of them were shiny. If you're a 3A player, I guess shiny is fine because you're not doing grinds. However, in my opinion on this yo-yo, I believe the blasted splashes are absolutely worth the extra 10 bucks. Blasting is nice. 70-75 aluminum doesn't always blast very well, but it seems like this year they figured it out. So compare it a little bit to, it's very seemingly Turning Point inspired. Lots of extra cuts. It's got that kind of nipple there, sort of like the stuff that Turning Point did in collaboration with Yo-Yo Factory. Here it is next to a Cyborg 2.0. I would imagine Elliot was probably a pretty big fan of the Cyborg, because it absolutely has a lot of similarities to that as far as all the cuts go. It being made out of 70-75 aluminum, and the way the cut looks, it's just a little more involved than the Cyborg was. Similarly, here it is next to the Dogma, which was also a Turning Point design for Yo-Yo Factory, and you can see there's a lot of similarities there. So I would imagine that it's probably mostly based on, or at least some design elements taken from the Cyborg. It's very similar in that regard. The Cyborg's a little bit lighter. I think the Cyborg's about 66.5 grams, 67.5 grams. So this thing plays super, super stable. Also plays heavy, but it plays super, super stable, which is really what you want if you're playing 3A. It's nice and durable as well. I've hit it off of things. It doesn't seem to care at all. I've got one. Do I have one little pinprick there? Yeah, I have one little prick from where it hit my ring. You can't see it there, and I could probably rub it off. Nah, one little nick there from where it hit my ring, but other than that, I mean, this thing is super durable. I've been throwing it around a lot. I realize this is a signature yo-yo, so it's hard to like criticize stuff about it, but we'll get to that when I get to pros and cons. It does play heavy. I can't stress that enough. This is a heavy playing yo-yo. While it's stable and long spinning, it's also heavy. So that's something you're going to want to think about when you get it. But let's throw it around. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, and we are back with the Unparalleled Abduction. So like I said, you're going to notice this thing being very heavy, but also very stable. It's got a lot of power and a ton of rim weight. G2 Jake just cut this in half on Sunday. So you may want to go check that video out, his Let's Cut a Yo-Yo. to see what the cross section looks like. That came back hard. See, and I just kind of was playing with that for a long time. Really powerful, lots of rim weight, really stable. As far as grinds are concerned, I really like this blasted finish. The fact that it comes in shiny finishes are pretty much the bane of my existence, and I won't buy them. So I like that they also did blasted finishes as well. I understand why a 3A player might want a shiny finished Yo-Yo to be a little more flashy so that everybody can see what's going on, but this blasted finish, good, very good, great for grinds, nice and smooth, nice and soft. Doesn't really slow the Yo-Yo down very much at all, and that has a lot to do probably with the power and the thickness in these rims. 7075 aluminum is heavier, so thick rims plus heavier aluminum equals lots of rim weight equals lots of power in the Yo-Yo. So finger spins, as far as that's concerned, there is a nipple there that can kind of get in the way, but you can sort of ride around it. There's like a little groove there. Let's see if I can hit it. Ride the groove pretty well. Finger spin's okay. Not designed for it because he's a 3A, because Elliot's a 3A player, but it handles them just fine. Binds are nice. I had to break the pad in a little bit. It uses that white like CBC pad, which needs broken in. Still not my favorite response pad, especially for a yo-yo of this weight. I feel like heavy yo-yos could use grippier response pads. But response pads are an easy change. Very easy to control, easy to maneuver, really long spin times. It just kind of goes forever. Easy to catch on the string. And it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. As far as smoothness is concerned, I mean, mine's hit stuff, and it's like 10 out of 10, dead smooth. You can feel the engraving, so like, listen, like that's the engraving, but the yo-yo is like buttery, powdery smooth. Really nice job on the QC and on the smoothness of this yo-yo. It is really smooth. As far as thumb grinds are concerned, is a lip there. It's kind of shallow though. Throw it on an angle. If you get it on an angle, there is a lip there. And it is absolutely doable. But like I said, grinds are great on the blasted ones. I definitely recommend getting one of the blasted splash ones. And this Eva colorway is awesome. It reminds me of the Arkham, or the Joker splash, or whatever it was, the Joker swirl or Arkham swirl that G2 Jake did on one of the Wolves a while back. Really looks good. And there are, like I said, still some of these available at YoyoBESTBUY, and the link will be down in the description of this video. Looks really good with the Hulkenstein string as well. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like they were built for each other. They weren't, but it's like they were. Where do I go from here? There we go. All right. Let's throw it on the desk. We'll take it apart and do pros and cons. All right, we are back on the desk with the Unparalleled Abduction. Very cool yo-yo. I really dig it for its price point. I think it's awesome. Very smooth. Looks good spinning. You can see the little bit of green in there. Very opposite Hulk. Purple with a green splash as opposed to green with a purple splash. It's a very opposite Hulk. I like it. Very cool. Very Joker-y. If you're a Batman fan. Who's not a Batman fan? Seriously. So pop this bad boy apart. Show you the construction here. Comes apart very nice. If I had to guess, and I don't know for sure, but if I had to guess, I would say that Top Yo machined this. That's my guess. It kind of feels that way. that, you know, maybe Tapio machined it. It also has that kind of like 5-cut bearing. I don't know if that's a Buddha bearing or whatever that like Tapio uses a lot, which is an awesome bearing. Excellent, excellent, like 5-cut. I think it's a 10-ball bearing. Super smooth, super silent. Excellent bearing. So kudos to them for using that. White response pads. These ones are okay. I've broken mine in a little bit, so they're grippy enough now. I'm not the biggest fan of these response pads. I think those clear smoky ones grip better and are more reliable. But now that these ones are broken in, I don't think I'm going to change them out. They're fine. Like I said, bearing is great. I think the gap's probably a little smaller than 4.5 millimeters, so that helps probably with the slippier pads. Helps them not be too grippy. As you can see, the cuts, there's lots of them. Removes surface weight when you're trying to grind, but also just looks cool. Catches light neat. The blasting is very nice, as you can see here. Same, both ends. Blasted comes all the way. Sort of, there's like this little step that's not as blasted. Like that little step before the gap. That's not as blasted, so that's pretty cool. Goes together nice and smooth. I mean, awesome. Awesome construction. I don't know who did this. Like I said, I think it was made probably Unparalleled. If they did it, I mean, this construction is top notch. Dead smooth, nice and smooth screw part, tight at the end, but smooth otherwise. The bearing is tight on the seat, but it's not too tight. I have pulled it to lube it, and wasn't too tight on the seat. But man, this thing goes together. That's nice. That is the sign of a quality yo-yo. All the one drops do that. That's what you want your yo-yo to do when you do that. So let's do pros and cons. Pros, if you get the blasted one, great blast finish. Beautiful splashes. I really like the splashes they did with these. They also did like a green one. It's a very interesting yo-yo to throw. There's a lot of cuts and stuff that like kind of give it interesting weight distribution. And if you saw Jake cut it in half, there's a lot of weight removed from the center. It's not very super center heavy, but there is a ton of weight in the rims, and it's sort of evenly distributed, not super light or super thin the rest of the way through. So very cool in that regard. No real finger spins to speak of, but that like little groove around the nipple there is kind of a good place to catch the yo-yos. So you could definitely do them. Like, it's not going to stop you from doing them. It's just not designed for it. But there's plenty of yo-yos that are designed for it. So definitely a good one. This is actually going to be a really great yo-yo to learn longer tricks and stuff on, especially like techie stuff, just because of how stable it is and how long it spins. So, I mean, if you're just kind of trying to work on new mounts or something, this is really a good yo-yo to do that with, because it's just going to spin there and wait for you to do what you're doing, and, you know, then still have some spin left once you figure it out and bind it up. Very minimal engravings, which I'm a big fan of, just that little bit right there. Unparalleled Elliot Ogawa. Very, very minimalist, which I like. No big ugly engravings all over the yo-yo. As far as cons are concerned, like I said, it is heavy. And this is 2017. A lot of yo-yos are 66 grams, 65 grams, even mono metals, and 70-75 aluminum yo-yos. A lot of weight gets taken out because you can make the walls a lot thinner. I saw Jake cut it in half. They didn't make the walls that thin on this yo-yo, and honestly, that's probably what Elliot wanted as a 3A player. However, as if you're just using it for 1A or whatever, I do tend to notice if I throw this for a long time, it starts to feel heavier and heavier and heavier. It's not crazy heavy. It's not like, you know, 70 grams or anything like that, but it's 67.5 grams. I would say this is probably one of the heaviest yo-yos that came out this year. And it's got a lot of the weight in the rim, so you're going to feel a lot of that weight. But that being said, it plays great. It's super stable. I mean, that's the one thing. If the yo-yo is heavy, you at least want it to be really, really stable and spin a really, really long time. And this absolutely does that. It spins a super long time and is super, super stable. That's going to do it for me today, guys. This is the Unparalleled Abduction. Check it out. I've got links down in the description of this video for where you can pick one of these up. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Please make sure you like and subscribe. I do yo-yo videos every single day. I'm insane. And I have help, though, so it's nice. But thanks for watching, guys. Cheers to you. I'll see you next time.